I'm Paul Jarvie from AESIN. I'm the Director of AESIN, and welcome to our Automotive Security Conference. So welcome everyone to sunny Anstey Park, beautiful location. So enjoy your day today. We've got a really packed and exciting agenda. You've got, I think, more than you could ever want on automotive security at one place. So thank you for coming. I'm going to run through a little bit of the just the introduction, the housekeeping stuff. I'm going to thank Peter first of all. So Peter Davies from Thales is leading our automotive security group, our work group, and has done most of the work for the conference today. So I want to thank him in particular. I want to thank his company for helping us be here today, and also I'm going to mention some of the other exhibitors and supporters of the conference. So just to start there. You should all have your sheet here with the running order. I'm just going to give you a little bit around here, and you are going to hear me talk about digital resilience and survivability, which makes me sound really quite an expert in cyber. I'm not, so just to make sure that you're quite comfortable with that, but I'm learning a lot from this man and from the people assembled here, our experts, so thank you for that. So, as I said, our sponsors, so thank you to them, and to our partners and exhibitors at Green Hills, Thales and Phaedrus, and also from the IoT Security Foundation, my colleague John Moore, the Managing Director of the IoT Security Foundation. So what I'm going to show just very briefly is how we're linked and how we link and how we work together, and hopefully you'll have a chance to talk to John today about what he's doing, and we're very much connected in what we're doing. Okay, what's today's themes about? Okay, so very much at a very high level, and Peter's going to go through this in some detail. But what you see here is it's broken into three sessions. There is a chair in each session, and the sort of theme around those sessions: at-scale infrastructure in which the vehicle is operating, the standards. Okay, there's quite a bit of discussion going on about standards in this area. So yeah, you can read the comments there. So that's going to be, I'm sure, a lively part of today. And emerging engineering techniques and justifiable in court. And usually this is a bit that Peter brings a sobering thought about how we're moving into an exciting era, but we need to understand how to securely connect or safely connect, as John would say from IOTSF. So we need to understand this and make sure we're doing good engineering. Okay, so just how we're connected. I mentioned about IOTSF, and here they are here, and John sitting there, and the AESIN group here. Basically, the UK Deep Tech Hub. So we have formed what's called TechWorks, last year launched, basically to represent deep tech in the UK. And what you're seeing here is, as an overarching group across there, you see that these groups are operating underneath here and very much in a connected fashion. So very much in the traditional area of electronics here, in what was traditionally NMI as our previous name, power electronics, and no doubt other communities will emerge to do with AI and other emerging technologies. So this is how we're operating, basically as a trade body in operation, but each of these communities you can be a part of. Okay, a little bit about AESIN. Could you put your hand up if you've heard of AESIN? That's what I'm interested in. Oh, great. Right, take a picture. Okay, that's super. So for those who don't, and bear with me if you do know us, AESIN, Automotive Electronic Systems Innovation Network, running for about 3 or just over 3, nearly 4 years, is about accelerating the rate of innovation of electronics in the car. That's what we're about. Our focus is UK. We're connecting into broader regions. But very much what I want to show on this slide is that in order to understand how you accelerate that innovation, you'll see in this box very non-traditional electronics companies as well as traditional, and obviously the traditional names from automotive. So our executive steering board, and within the membership, includes companies like Ford, Aston Martin, Jaguar Land Rover. Some of these guys will be here today, and some of the more traditional companies in the supply chain. So we have representation there of the people who understand what's going on in that space. If you then think about how we're organized and then what's the bigger ecosystem out there in terms of automotive, then we have our executive steering board here. We're chaired by Alan Banks, ex-head of engineering for Visteon, Tier 1 in the UK. Andrew Ashby from Ricardo, our vice chair, is sitting here. Andrew's here. And Then what you're seeing, myself here as director, and then we have a research group which is led by Kevin, which I think is here from Coventry. There he was. Okay. So down in here you're seeing some work streams, and just really today what the focus is around here. So each of these groups has an activity associated with what you might call attributes or the major elements of the vehicle. And today focused around cybersecurity or digital resilience and survivability. And then up here you'll see two other logos. So this is important for you to understand in this ecosystem of automotive for the UK. The top one here, Meridian, and Andy's sitting here from Meridian and heading up very much the activity for Meridian in the UK. So as CAV and representing the driving of connected autonomous vehicles in UK to be the place to go to do connected autonomous vehicle testing and development is exactly what Andy's group's been set up to do. So we're very much working with them, and they're connected directly into government. So that's the CCAV group that's a link between DFT and BASE. So delighted he's here today and he's going to be chairing our first session. So very much working with Meridian, and then associated with that is the UK Automotive Council. UK Automotive Council, a voice to government primarily for the UK automotive industry, so we're very much linking in with them. So that gives you the bigger picture of how we're set up here, hopefully. Just an example of stuff that's going on here, and Meridian groups engaged into this, other groups engaged. The UK Automotive Council set out these roadmaps, and I would suggest, if you've not seen them, they're worth looking and getting download. What you're seeing here is two that I've mentioned here, the electrical architecture of the car out to a brave 2040. We're struggling to imagine 2030, but 2040, it does say there's going to be quite different technology here. But equally, in terms of intelligent connected vehicles, so then you're talking about vehicle to something. So that vehicle is not sitting in isolation as it was in your Morris Minor. It's very much talking to a lot of things. And as we move into the era of IoT. So I recommend you look in there. It gives a good consensus view. It doesn't say this is what it will be. It says it's a consensus. So it has some room for error, but definitely worth checking out. I really apologize. That's a really busy slide. But what I've just tried to do is give some examples of related activities to digital resilience, survivability. Our group, I would say, if you're interested in this, and hopefully by the end of the day you will be running up and want to talk to Peter and say, how do I engage and join that? That's my hope. And to mention in here that we have our annual conference, slightly bigger than this one, maybe 200 or 300 people, in Birmingham again, just at the Motorcycle Museum. And we'll cover all of those work streams that we saw, including the cyber space. I'm delighted that the guys from NXP are here, if you want to make yourself known. So we have some young and new engineers from NXP up in Scotland, in NXP East Kilbride. They're doing an exciting event on the security of autonomy. Who would you trust to drive your car? Now, you don't need to answer that. You might have something that just jumps into your mind. Maybe it's your son, maybe it's someone else. But I think it's a really great topic, and I like the fact of traditional handing over to AI. So I would recommend that you come to that. The guys are here, so they're sitting in that row at the back there. Speak to them today, and you'll be delighted to see you there. And John from the IoT Security Foundation is running his annual conference on December the 4th. I believe we're all welcome, John?
Yeah, everybody's welcome.
Great. And again, this is probably, if you imagine that automotive sits there, very much a key part, if you like, from a sector point of view, but very much a lot of the work that John's doing to help get best practice and help companies understand how they should be doing good engineering in this space. Absolutely relevant. So I think I'm nearly there. So you're going to just see here, as I said, a fairly packed agenda. We're going to run out to a break at 10. I'll be handing over to Peter here. We've got our talks in the first session chaired by Andy Pascoe here from Meridian. Then we're going to run out to lunch there just before 12. Two other sessions. Dave Battersby will be chairing our session on standards, and then emerging engineering will be chaired by Roke Manor. We aim to close up here on the panel at 4 and 4:20, so that's our sort of 4:30 sort of hard stop. Okay, and just as I hand over to Peter, the sort of themes of the sort of formation of that group over 2 years, somewhere like that. Peter's been working on this. And this set of themes that you see here, hopefully you would recognise. So landscape, security best practice, patching constrained devices, roadmaps, certification, vulnerability, disclosure, and a charter are all activities within their in subgroups. So again, I mentioned if you wanted to be engaged in some of that, Peter's going to really touch a little bit on where we've moved on those over the last year, but really just to sort of summarise those in the one.